whenever you are instructing, or installing, I wanted to say, infrastructure, it is very, very important that you translate what that infrastructure is meant to accomplish in that community.
That's doing development with the people.
Yes, you have to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Not just for the people.
Exactly. So that's part of our problem.
So you're saying that government failed in doing that? Or successive governments in Ekiti?
We just look, and sometimes I must be honest with you. Sometimes I wonder what the true motive of the infrastructure we put in place really is. Because if the infrastructure is designed to achieve economic development, then there's no way you can do that in isolation of the people. No way. Okay? Look, farmers are having problems getting their farm produce to town. Okay? Access to their farms is an issue. Okay? And many times it sounds so democratic when you spread your infrastructure dollar all across the state. Okay? But that's not how a smart businessman will use scarce resources. Okay? You want to deploy your scarce resources to generate maximum returns and apply that returns elsewhere and grow your business kingdom. But many times we just don't think in terms of how to get the maximum from our infrastructure budget. And
that government took a bond of 25 billion.
Yes. But that was before I joined them.
But the money was spent even while you were there.
Well, it was being spent
for regenerative projects.
Yes.
How regenerative are those projects?
Well, actually,
one of such should be the Ekiti Pavilion.
And
then the recently completed Civic Center.
Yes, and also the Adaba and
Adaba is not regenerative.
Well, you see, this is but all these projects would have been listed on the bond documents as a project to be financed by So the whether it's regenerative or not.
But government says some of them were meant to be regenerative.
Well, obviously.
How are they doing?
How are they doing?
How are the projects doing?
Well, I'm not part of this government. We're just watching from outside.
So for somebody who wants to be governor,
well, I know.
You should.
Actually, look, there's something that baffles me about some of our spendings in Ekiti. Okay, and I think it has to do with the enforcement of our local content laws. Okay, 25 billion came into Ekiti, and Ekiti people are not feeling it. Okay, that baffles me. Okay, because if we only enforce local content rules, okay, a big chunk of that 25 billion would have contributed to development. Give me 5 billion alone, okay, to the development of Ekiti, and you will see transformative development happen. Just 5 billion. So when we brought in 25 billion and we didn't feel it, I have to ask myself, what would I do differently? Okay, you have to make sure that the local content rules are applied, number one. Number two, manpower implication of every capital project should be audited such that it forms the basis of preparing our own people to qualify to execute projects, rather than we are paying people from outside of the state to execute projects with money borrowed on our account, and everything just seems to just filter away from the state. That has to stop.
Now, what are the choices of YPP?
Well,
there are so many other political parties.
Yes, there are so many other parties. Of course, it's amazing how the manifestos of YPP, Young Progressives Party, resonates with me. As I told you before, okay, whenever we're thinking about party, we only think of APC and PDP and conclude that there's no ideological differences until I discover these smaller parties. The focus on service to the people, okay, resonates very well with me, that you are actually measuring yourself by the impact you make on people, not just self-serving, okay? That's very, very key to me, that a government must exist for the people. And if you don't add positive value to the lives of your people, you have no reason to exist as a government. That's number one. Number two, the focus on young people, okay? Because any visionary leader will know to invest in young people, because the future that you're envisioning is going to require young people to make it happen. So as you are planning and foreseeing the future, you must be developing your young people right now. So the focus on young people resonated with me. At least 51% of all appointments, okay, must be of young people 40 years.
That's in the manifesto of the party.
It's hard-coded in the manifesto of YPP. And then also women. At least 35% of appointments, okay, of government appointments at all levels of government must be women. And then persons with disability, at least 5%, okay? So the inclusiveness, okay, the respect for traditional institutions, okay, is also hard-coded in the manifesto. The need to respect our traditional rulers and create opportunities for them to participate in governance is there. Civil service, young people, women, all these stakeholders are explicitly identified in YPP manifesto. And I found that very impressive, that they can be that explicit in terms of what they stand for. And also, it's the only party that has a senator, apart from APC and PDP. So YPP has a senator, and for me, yes, for me, these are factors that concluded me on YPP.
Now, you just mentioned the civil service. Now,
Yes.
you said in one of your interviews that you work too closely with civil servants.
Yes.
One of the things that we've heard is that many civil servants in Ekiti State are not well attuned when it comes to talking about development, and that they are not competent enough. For somebody who has worked closely with them, how true is that?
Yeah, that's not true. I will tell you, okay? Ekiti easily has the best civil service in the country. What is lacking is exposure. What is lacking is having leaders that brings the best out of these people. I worked with them. I just told you, we will be in the office. In fact, they will sometimes tell me that they've never seen a commissioner do what I was doing. I mean, we were in a new building, okay, with no mosquito nets. In the middle of the night, with generator on, the light bulb in my office is directly on top of my table, which attracts all the insects in the community. And you know how these insects fall on your table. I walk away, okay? So I had a very mutually beneficial relationship with them. They were learning from me, and I was learning from them. I never worked for government before, as I said earlier. So all the issues about MDAs, the different ministries, department, agencies, what do they represent, what is expected, their mandate, and all that. And I also realized, okay, in fact, they taught me that Nigerians will gravitate to a good leader when they find one. They're still good in our people. But unfortunately, a bad leader will bring the worst out of people, while a good one will bring out the best. We'll have our good and bad sides, okay? That's the reality. So I had a fantastic relationship with our civil servants, and together we developed the budget system of Ekiti, which means that I did not use external consultants. As I developed, I trained them, okay? They were learning. So I had a very different experience with the civil servants from many of my colleagues, okay? So I learned that these people are super intelligent people, but we don't give them exposure, we don't give them training, okay? So many times, it's just a job for them, okay? But the capacity is in them. If you will invest in them, if you will believe, very critical, because I see a mutual distrust between the civil service and the political class when I was there. And that distrust has to do with the fact that they don't believe in each other. You have to believe in each other. And Nigerians need to believe in each other for there to be development. And the same for Ekiti as well. And that's the kind of leadership that Ekiti deserves, okay? That somebody who will believe in Ekiti people. Somebody who is ready to empower Ekiti people. Somebody who is ready to help Ekiti people to be the best they can be. And you know the irony of it? The transformational value. Okay, sorry, I meant the inspirational value of a transformed Ekiti will make any development in Lagos look like a joke. And I'll explain. Right now, nobody is expecting any phenomenal development in Ekiti. Okay? Therefore, any such development happening in Ekiti is bound to inspire many other peer states in Ekiti. I mean, in Nigeria. Because right now, people look at development in Ekiti and they conclude that, oh yeah, it's Lagos now. What do you expect? Okay? It's like running in a race. The guy who is far ahead of you don't really inspire you much. It's the one that is in your immediate region that are trying to pass you, or the one that you are trying to surpass, that really inspire you the most. So Ekiti stands in a position right now to become the center of transformation in Nigeria, if God will give us a good leader, and if we will actually accept God's choice of a leader for us come June 2022.
June 20, June 18.
June 18,
June
2022.
2022, yeah, June 18, 2022. If you're listening to us, you'll be listening to Conversation with Adaba FM. And we're live on Facebook. I've been speaking with the candidate of YPP in Ekiti State, Mr. Debo Ranti Ajayi.